ideally I would have a course outline here that tells me the dates of my classes, the dates and times of my classes. It would tell me what's due at every class, when the big assignments are, when the exams are, all of that. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a calendar for classes. And you know what? You can call it whatever you want. You can add your own calendars. So in Google Calendar, we've added calendar by doing this. Add calendar, classes. I don't have access? What? Oh, it's adding someone else's calendar. That's not how you do it. I was just showing you guys. That's totally not how you do it. New calendar. This is how you do it. Classes. I love how much I model not being perfect. You don't have to be perfect. Okay. So classes, and some people will put all their classes in one calendar. Some people might like a different class for every calendar. I kind of liked that before, so I might do class 1, and it might be like Psych 300. You can see all my email addresses. That's whatever. Okay, and I'm going to create that calendar. Now, back to my schedule. So maybe this class is like Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10 to noon. So I'm going to say class 1. And then what we can do to make it simple is we can go to more options here. And this is all we have to do. Some people who are familiar with Google Calendar, this will be super boring. So just bear with me. And this repeats. I'm going to go custom because I want it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And the semester will go until, let's say May 15th. I don't know. And then that way, that is in your schedule. So let's see. We have that class 1 in our schedule. We can change the color. If you're picky about colors like me, you'll want to change it. And so you can change it. You can add another class really quickly. Let's say that I'm in, let's say class, I'm only in 2 classes for the sake of this demo. Let's say this is Psych something or other. And now I can go back in here. I'm going to add this class and this class. Let's say it's an evening class, whatever. Let's say it's 6, or let's say it's 7 to 10. Class 2. So you can do this for all your classes. Oh, I'm an idiot. I was supposed to go class 2. So, that's a lesson there. Sorry, guys. So when you're in here, it will be your default thing. But if you want to make your own calendar for your own class, then you have to make sure you select that calendar. And we are going to edit event details. Why is it like this? I'm going to just go back. I feel like I'm obviously not a Google Calendar pro, but in terms of prioritizing school stuff, I should be able to help. So here we go, 7 to 10, weirdly long, late class. And this is going to be 2 days a week. It repeats Tuesday and Thursday, and it ends at mid-May like all my classes. And so I'm going to go through and do that for all of my classes, and I think I messed up which calendar this is in. Oh no, class 1, that's right. So class 1 in the class 1 calendar. And so I'm going to make, so those are my class calendars, and I can keep doing that, or you can just make a class calendar and then name them like class 1, class 2, if that makes sense to you. So go nuts with whatever, whatever you want to do here. Okay. All right, so I've added some classes. So that is just based on looking at your timetable. You can do that through your like your school thing or your class outline. So commitments, so anything that else that you have to do, you absolutely have to do. Like say you have to work. Say you volunteer in a research lab, and that is going to be like you have to do 8 hours a week or something stupid. So let's see. Let's add research lab, and I think that I can also add a new calendar from here. No, I cannot. So let's see, research lab. Ugh, I missed a step. So going back, this is like a bit of a mess. I might redo this rather than save it. Okay, I'm getting a little bit discard. Okay, I'm getting a little bit confused here. So anyways, add a calendar, new calendar, work, create calendar, and then I'm going to add my work, which is going to be my research lab volunteer position. And it's going to be 9 to 1 on Mondays. And let's make it, it's probably actually going to be more like, if it's 8 hours a week, let's make it Monday, Wednesday. And it ends, I'm just going to put it till the end of May. Okay, so now I have that. So I have in here, these are the basic things. So you put in your basic commitments that you have to go to. And so you have your classes here. And oh my God, I put it 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. That's pretty funny. So let's go ahead and move this to a less ridiculous time. Edit. So the nice thing about Google Calendar, it is forgiving, as you can see. You put your stuff in 9 to 1, and then I want to do it, let's go Tuesday, Thursdays. I think that would fit with the schedule better. Okay, so let's look here. Should be fixed. Save this and all events, and take me back. There it is. There's our schedule. These are the things we absolutely have to do. And so another thing we're going to do now is we're going to actually go into our course outline, and sometimes it'll say stuff like, it'll say like this week 1, we're going to cover chapters 1 to 5, week 2, whatever. And so we're going to do stuff like that. We're going to pull up our course outline and look at it, and we're going to see, okay, what's due this class? So Monday the 7th, we're going to edit it in here individually. It's annoying and it takes a little bit of time, but then it's done. You don't have to keep looking for your outline. You can just look in your Google Calendar for everything. And, okay. So yeah, you can just look in your Google Calendar for everything that way. So we have chapters 1 to 3 for the first class. Maybe they email you ahead and they're like, you need to do all this before we meet. So we're like, okay, I'm going to put that in there. Does this mean you're going to be perfect and do it every time before the class? No. But you'll know what's expected of you, and it'll be in there. And if you know what is going to be covered in that class, you can at least decide to skim ahead those chapter summaries or something before the class. So you're going to go through this, and for every class week, you're going to customize what the teacher has put in the outline for that week. So maybe here in this class, it's, let's say, for example, we've looked in our outline and we've put in all the readings and the boring, like not boring, but the small like week-to-week things. Next thing we're going to do here is we're going to put in actual assignments. So let's say your first paper for class 2 is due February 7th. So this is something we would do. We put in assignment 1. We might even put it in the title so we can see it coming up. But a better way to deal with things coming up would be to figure out when you have to start assignment 1. So let's say assignment 1 is a 10-page paper and it's on a topic that you're comfortable writing about. So on one hand it's long, on the other hand you're comfortable. So you just decide how long do you think you need. There's another way to do this too. Let's see if I can find assignment calculator. Assignment calculator, SFU, that's where I went. So I'm going to look at this and see what they say. Assignment calculator. Writing a research paper? Yes, I am. So I think maybe I need a week to do this, but let's see what they say. Okay, the assignment calculator. So the assignment is due, we said February, I don't know, was it 7th? February 7th. And it doesn't tell me like, okay, so by Friday, January 4th, I have to understand my assignment. So go through the outline. So I could even go back in my thing and put like week 1, read over the requirements for that. And then the next week, look at this, by Friday this week, understand the assignment. By Friday next week, do the research. By Friday the week before, write a draft thesis, and then write your outline. So they have like this whole thing. You could do that if you wanted to. This looks pretty intense. I think I would maybe do this for a big, huge paper, but not for smaller assignments. For smaller assignments, you might just want to either look ahead or remind yourself. Like that's what you can do too, is like, so assignment 1 is due this week, so you can tell yourself, let's see, for class 2, assignment 1 next week. Assignment 1 next week. There we go. So let's try that. And then, so that's the kind of thing you can do. You can just kind of plan ahead a little bit in here, and knowing that you're week to week, you will have the details when you go, okay, what do I have to do today? You can look and chapters 1 to 3, I wrote that in. Thanks, me from the past. Okay, so those are the classes. The assignments you put inside the class information, you put your work things, and then now we're going to make a calendar for office hours or other help. So this is kind of good to have, because when we get stuck sometimes we will freak out and we will be like, oh, I'm just going to deal with my stress by procrastinating, doing other things. But sometimes if we look ahead and we know when we can get help, then we can actually like relax between now and then without guilt. Anyways, it's good to have your office hours in. So for each class, just go through and put your office hours in, either in the color or make a new calendar so you can hide it most of the time. Office hours. So create a calendar. Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to say this, I have 2 classes here. The office hours for class 1 happens to be this day, class 1 in office hours. And then maybe it's, oops, I gotta repeat that. So edit, repeats every weekly on Thursday. And then there we go. So it's gonna show up every time. And so I can do that for both classes, class 1 and class 2, and then I'm just going to hide it if I don't need it. Don't need to see that all the time. So that's an easy one to just add. Another thing you can do is, like, if your school has an open tutorial thing or like a help desk or something like that, you can add their time into, like, say there's an open math lab kind of tutorial every week. You can add that in your schedule. Now, self-care. So this is the unschedule we talked about. So the idea is, if you actually look in our Facebook group, I wonder if I pull it up here. Let's look in our Facebook group for a sec, because we did a poll a bit ago. And the poll was, what usually trips you up what trips you up in the semester after, it's slow, sorry. After you lose your new semester momentum. Okay, that's the voting for that. The other poll is probably not far, and I think most people wrote that it's dropping self-care and assuming that they can maintain a really high level of energy. That's what really can make us burn out and start the procrastination cycle. So here we go. So overdoing it and losing momentum or burning out is the top reason that people in our group lose the new semester energy. Okay, so we're going to prevent that as much as we can by putting in some self-care things. So if you know yourself, you can fill this out, but likely you're going to want to adjust it a few times. So, for example, I know that I kind of work well in the mornings. And so maybe I will put I don't have much morning time. That's kind of a bummer, but maybe after this class, I'll grab some lunch and then it'll be my study time. So you can put in a new calendar for self-care. Staying sane. And with this, we're going to put in things that we know that we need to do that we sometimes forget to do. So maybe some of us will know we should probably eat at some point here rather than just go straight into studying and forget to eat. So for us, we might actually put in lunch, stuff like that, into self-care. Or maybe we know that we tend to stay up really late. So maybe for us, it's important to put bedtime in. So let's say 11:30 p.m., go to bed. That's pretty late, but scheduling in a decent amount of sleep is one of the best ways to avoid burnout and procrastination because it's so hard to make rational decisions when we're tired. So it's a lot easier to end up procrastinating. So I can do this every day. Let's go to bed. And maybe that's a little late for you. And if so, adjust it to what's realistic for you, but also be mindful that you don't want to make your goals too crazy. I'm not going to put in here, go to the gym every day for an hour if I'm, say, used to going twice a week. I'm not going to when you're in school and you have a ton of assignments, that's not the time to put a bunch of new pressure on yourself. That's the time to just think about what you need to do your best. So I'm going to say daily, go to bed. That's fine for now. And maybe I do want to go to the gym a couple times. At least what I'm going to do is for sure put in the yoga schedule and say I look it up online. There's only a couple that work for me. Maybe it's Sunday. So stuff like that. Maybe you know that every week you find yourself telling yourself you're going to study Friday night and get all your homework done before Sunday. But every single week you find yourself not doing that. Instead, you find yourself going out with friends and then feeling bad that you didn't study and then you kind of just end up in a cycle of feeling bad and not productive. Instead, why don't we just try admitting to ourselves that we like going out when we're going to go out and meet friends on Friday. And maybe we will do this every week so we don't feel bad and it doesn't take away our momentum, that Saturday we can just start without the guilt. So yeah, this is the kind of thing that I would put in the unschedule. And let's stay out till 11:30, if not later. So, and we'll do this every week. So this is the basic idea with unschedule, is putting in things that you know you tend to do or you tend to need, so that you can just do it without feeling bad. So you can just kind of just give yourself the credit that maybe you are slacking because you're burnt out by the end of the week. Maybe Friday night's not the best time to expect yourself to be productive. And maybe even Saturday morning is not the time to expect yourself to wake up and be productive. Like sometimes we might not have time for this, but if we schedule it in, then at least we'll be like, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to like allow myself to catch up on sleep, and yeah, and so like it's fine. I don't have to wake up and study all the time. It's so hard with school because basically there's always something you could be doing, so it's pretty hard to take a break without feeling bad. But that guilt does not help us. Okay, weekly on Saturday, I'm sleeping in. And then basically how it works with an unschedule is that we don't necessarily put in study time. What we do is we put in like the stuff we know we want to do. So maybe we want to play video games at least once a week, like in the middle of the week. And we don't want to feel bad about it. So anyways, what we do is we put in stuff like that and breaks that we think we need. And if you need to schedule in food because you're someone who forgets to eat, then do that for dinner and lunch. If you need to schedule in workouts because it's important for you and you don't do it otherwise, then do that. But basically, all the other time could be study time. And so what you do is when you get to your study time, on a given day, you're like, maybe you're going for lunch and you realize, okay, I'm probably going to sit back down around 3. And then what you do is at 3, you kind of look ahead, what's due in this class, what's due in this class, what's due in this class. And at that time, that's when you sit down and it'll be your study time. You can do the Pomodoro technique where you're working for 25 minutes and having a 5-minute break. You can find different things like that work for yourself. Yeah, so this is the way that you can schedule if you want, and you can do it differently if you want. Like, I'm just going to, for the sake of it, put in some study time so you see what that looks like. Studying. Because sometimes it's better to have that visual as well. But you don't have to. You can just say that every time, all the other times, I can be doing that. So let's say here I have a block. I'm going to work for a bit, but I don't want to burn myself out too much before this big class. So maybe I will study, and maybe I'll even go ahead and maybe I will write in what I'm going to do that day, like get everything done for the next day, and maybe read up on that assignment that's coming up so I understand what's involved. So anyways, if you get the idea, you can kind of put the schedule in. The idea basically is to take all the information from your course outlines, and if it's digital, it's great because you can just literally copy and paste the assignment instructions and everything. That's the basic idea. So yeah, I'm just checking. I don't think there's any questions at all from here. So if anybody has any questions in the comments, drop a comment or just let me know if you're here. Oh, crud. No, it's feedback. Anyways, pretty done for this. And I know a lot of people will say, okay, this is great, but what about when it comes to this reading time and I don't want to do it? And so that is like another topic. So there is stuff that goes on with procrastination that involves anxiety, depression, attention problems, all kinds of stuff that is like for another day almost. The other topic I suggested talking about was ending the cycle of procrastination, and that topic, I think I'll redo it soon, and it'll touch on all the different things that can get in our way of actually reading in the moment. But this step of scheduling all your stuff in and knowing that there is a time that things should be doable, that is a big step. Yeah, so I hope this was helpful. I was a little rambly at times, so I don't know if I would save this one. Maybe. Anyways, thank you all for joining me, and if you do this, I would love to see a screenshot of yours. So share it in the group. Yeah, thanks for joining me. I'm gonna just go over here now and turn this off. And you see my little crazy dashboard thing.